that doesn't mean it didn't happen. It's not improbable. You don't know what was in his head. You don't know how he was feeling. You don't know if he was under the effects of drugs. That we know that people can be affected by something and become crazed. And we've seen videos on YouTube of people high on meth and everything getting shot 6, 7, 8, 9 times and not stopping. Just totally whacked out of their minds. And then you're telling me it's impossible that he could have gone 10 miles from because of that. It's improbable. It's not impossible. Especially since he was 18. He was a football player. He was in decent shape. Once again, improbable, not impossible. So there you go. That's really all I have to say about it now. Like I said, I could have done 2 hours on it, but that's as far as I could get in the video. I'm probably getting a little hate mail and everything. Totally fine by me. But that's all I have to say about that. And we are now over the past 11 p.m. Eastern. So let's move on. Hello, Jill. How are you? Let's move on to this Friday's episode. We don't cover many child disappearances on the program for many reasons that I've talked about, but we are going to cover one this Friday. Why? First of all, her parents are not suspects in her disappearance. And at number 2, there very well could have been foul play. It's the disappearance of Leanne Hausberg from Brooklyn, New York. We've been there. We've been to New York. This will be our, third time going to New York City? She went missing on March 18th, 1999. She was 14 years old. Christy says, yay, regular Friday again. I feel you, Christy. I feel your pain. On that day, she allegedly took off for school as she usually did. And she was late coming home that day. Her mother called her father, who was at work, and said, hey, Leanne's not home yet. So he took off of work early, started kind of driving that route between the school and their home, didn't find her. This is the days before cell phones. He went to a couple of friends' house. They were like, we don't know what to tell you. And she never did come home, and she was never seen again. But what's important to know is after the fact, the parents discovered, of course, that Leanne never made it to school that day. So she left her house, never made it to school. But in addition, a couple of these friends who were asked, they actually knew she didn't make it to school that day, but never said anything. And after the fact, while they were going through Leanne's room, they found a secret journal that she was keeping, in which she talked about liking 2 different boys and at least having sex with one of them. And also revealed that she was having what we might call private or intimate conversations with a male who was an adult. And she is still missing, of course, 22 years later. Now, she had, the parents also had found out after the fact that she had skipped school before and had actually been seen one time with some of those very friends who wouldn't reveal anything, seen on a subway with them, skipping before. So that is the disappearance. The guest is her father, Alan Artali. However, he is not her biological father. Leanne is actually Native American. And her biological father lived in Nebraska, but her mother, Robin, ended up getting divorced and marrying Alan, and they lived in New York City. And there was a belief at the time, maybe it's still possible even to this day, that she wanted to reconnect with her Native American heritage and ran away to go back to Nebraska or to some reservation where she would be more like people with her of her own ethnicity. No proof of that, but that is a thought. So, but the title of this episode is Mean Girls, because some of these friends to this day will not talk to Leanne's family. And in fact, one of these girls denies even knowing her. And of course, we talk about that. I talk about that with Alan. So this Friday, this will be the disappearance of Leanne Hausberg. And you should know, we're going to be covering some other teenage disappearances. I've already done an interview. We're going to be covering the disappearance of a 15-year-old from Pennsylvania. And then sooner or later, I've told you all about the 600-page FOIA. That is also a teenager who went missing. And when I can get to it, we'll get to it. But we would have done the interview, but her mother had a stroke. So she is continuing to recover. And I hope that we can cover that disappearance soon when she is feeling better. So that is all I have. Let me see if I can put this all back together. But that's all I have for this week. Of course, I ran over. It might be the longest live show ever in the history of the